Hello, everyone. 2 days after the autumnal equinox, we have a Libra new moon, almost at the same degree, really. And this degree is very close to the supergalactic center. Well, in this era, the Libra ingress is always around the supergalactic center because its degree is Libra 1 degree 15. And it's one of the so-called key celestial areas in transcendental karmic astrology. We have three such, and these are always centers for galaxies or supergalaxies or galaxy clusters, superclusters. And for some reason, they are always linked to the Earth plane because there are so many other galactic points. But these galactic points are not really linked to our home, the Earth. The three that we work with in transcendental karmic astrology are, and these are the galactic center, which is the center of the Milky Way at 27 degrees Sagittarius, the supergalactic center, which is at 1 degree Libra, which is the center of our home galaxy, and then Laniakea center, which is Libra, which is the Sagittarius 14 degrees, which is the great attractor. These are all linked to the Earth as well. So that's why we are selecting them separately and we are looking at them. And they all carry karmic dilemmas. The supergalactic center carries the dilemma of nothing is ever enough. And if you look around, you can see that the Third World War is really escalating. The powers that be don't want peace. They don't talk about peace. They don't even allow us to talk about peace. They keep pumping money and weapons to Ukraine, fueling the whole thing. And it's just not good. Let's put it this way, it's not good. And if the whole idea that this new Libra new moon is so close to the autumnal equinox and at the supergalactic center symbolizes it as something really important is escalating. And if you take a look at the chart, this is for London, you see that the sun-moon conjunction is opposite Jupiter. You can see that the sun-moon is at Libra 2 degrees 48, which is well within the 2 degrees that we allow for these galactic points, the three key celestial areas. With the sun moon, I even allow a 2.5 degree orb, but here's it's well within 1.5. It's 1.5 degrees, so we accept it. So let's take a look at the Libra new moon, what we can see in the London chart. Pallas Athena, the wise girl, is rising. Now, I'm not exactly sure whether or not your new prime minister is really a wise girl. She certainly behaved like a stupid girl in many, many instances. But I'm hoping that she may rise to the occasion. She may actually become the wise girl. She doesn't act like one, but let's hope. We still have the Uranus North Node conjunction, so you can actually change, completely alter your destiny choices at this point. There's the Juno Astrea conjunction, so you can actually break old embedded karma regarding partnerships, still there. There is an applying conjunction of Saturn Vesta, which in karmic astrology denotes oaths and promises, old oaths and promises that we might want to get rid of. And besides the Sun-Moon conjunction, you have a Mercury-Venus doubly applying conjunction because Venus is direct and Mercury is retrograde. So there's need for nice talk, obviously. And there are actually, here I only circled the midpoint, the IC conjunct Ceres and trans-Pluto, but this is also actually a midpoint structure with asteroid lineage, trans-Pluto, and the Ceres at the midpoint, the home, the family, but all in the everything is there in on the IC, so the home is doubly emphasized in the London chart. And then you have another midpoint structure which has been there for quite a while again, which is the Aries, Jupiter midpoint with Chiron at its core, karmic wounds and drastically altered outward circumstances are escalating. But there's also another midpoint structure with Chiron, Neptune. So Jupiter is at the Chiron, Neptune midpoint. So this is a string of all retrograde celestial bodies that have these midpoint structures. So it's quite interesting if you take a look. Okay, there is a complex planetary picture with objects at 2 to 4 degrees and also at 17, 18 degrees. Now, those who know astrology and know it well, immediately might realize that these two sets of degrees have either a 45 degree or a 135 degree potential aspect configuration. And this is exactly what we see here with the Sun Moon opposite Jupiter in Aries. And of course, Jupiter in Aries escalates the war. That's what we see. And then the Sun Moon is really highlighting this aspect that people be careful, because now you are actually entering into a war zone. And with this particular new moon, this is exactly what I feel. And at the same time, here you have what I call Thor's kite. Now, it may sound funny, but there is a Thor's hammer structure with a square and two sesquiquadrates. And when you add two 45 degrees semi-squares, you get a Thor's kite. And it's a nasty configuration because all you have is heavy, challenging aspects. There's nothing there. And what made this really, really particularly important was the fact that the Saturn-Uranus square is involved. Saturn-Uranus is about how the basis, how everything that is structural and rigid and solid and serious, how this is disrupted or changed or renewed by Uranus. This is the earthquake aspect, and it fills into the Thor's kite configuration. So actually, it enlarges the Sun Moon opposite Jupiter idea that be careful because we can disrupt everything we have. And there's also a mutable fire engine involving trans-Pluto, dimension jump, dark moon Lilith, accepting the curse, and Jupiter, enlarging everything. Engines are very effective configurations because they put together the square, which is daily challenges, and energy, trine, blessing or harmony, and quincunx, some sort of karmic issue. So if you put the three together and you take a look at the square and decide what type of square it is, you will see that the mutable square is always about changes, how to change stuff. And then the fire trine actually helps you to exercise that change, to do that change. There's also an angel wing with Mars at the apex, involving Uranus change, the Black Moon Lilith, which means it's the third turning point of the Lilith myths, when Lilith goes back into the Garden of Eden in the form of a snake and teaches Eve whatever she needs to know. So for this, she requires courage and honor. So, and also clairvoyance and farsighting. And then Mars, of course, is the war, but here it suggests that since the warlord is in an air sign, the people should sit down and talk to each other and negotiate some sort of peace. Let's put it this way. And also, there's a little engine linked to this angel wing. There's the Black Moon, Saturn, and Uranus. So this kind of releases the tension of the Thor's kite, but also the Saturn-Uranus square. Again, Lilith, the wise woman, the wise goddess who returns to the Garden of Eden to rectify stuff that needs to be rectified. Okay. And here are the transcendental celestial objects linked to this particular complex planetary picture. The sun moon has Kant, a philosopher, Thales, a mathematician, Xerxes, a fighter, and Dryphonos. And Dryphonos is, he used to be one of the earth sprites who was hired by Zeus to guard Heracles's cradle, and he took the task so seriously that he turned himself into a centaur. And Tryphonos signifies karmic wounds or karma around complete transformation for the sake of a task or for the sake of some sort of duty. And that's exactly here on the Sun-Moon conjunction. And there's also the supergalactic center, which symbolizes nothing is ever enough. On Jupiter, you have Gamma Kaitos, Beta Cetus, and the constellation Set is at the liminal space between Aries and Taurus, and it guards this liminal space. And the whole constellation of Set is the anything that comes up from the subconscious and emerges. And beta stars are always the shadow energy of the constellation. So here comes something up from our collective subconscious that we don't actually like too much, or we are not proud of it. That's something. And of course, then Jupiter enlarges everything. And on Uranus, you have Imhotep, the polymath, who was also a physician and a builder, a constructor. And on Mars, you have Alkira and Achilles. Achilles, of course, means that, yes, anyone who enters a war will be hurt. Even Achilles, who is a demigod, has a spot where he can be killed, and he was killed. And Alkira is a not aboriginal, but some sort of, almost aboriginal. I'm not quite sure about the tribes in Australia, but this is an Australian creation legend. When Alkira creates the world, and after creation, he goes to the farthest side or corner of it, turns his back and never looks back, and he doesn't want to actually operate his own creation. And this on Mars suggests that those who actually invented this war, who actually triggered this war, are turning their backs on us. And they say, okay, do whatever you want. I created a war situation, now do whatever you want. And of course, our dear leaders at the EU are not really, I could never actually decide, are these people so totally dumb or stupid, or are they actually crooks? And I think both is the answer. They don't really care for us. People are, they are running an agenda, and they are well paid for running this agenda. That's my take on the situation. On Black Moon, you have a Hercules, dilemmas around truth and reality. What is reality compared to truth? My truth and reality, how are they reconcilable or non-reconcilable? And Vasat helps you to decide. This is the star of the celestial twins, where they are linked at their elbow, and this is the word where we learn to make decisions. And on the dark moon, Lilith, you have karma, obviously, and Graphias, which is Zeta Scorpio. It's where the physical body of the celestial Scorpio is linked to his sting, and it's the point where you move the sting, where you move when you can kill, actually, how to move the sting. And on Saturn, you have Helio and sun god, of course. So this is infused with sun energy, solar energy. Okay, there's another complex planetary picture in the new moon chart. This is for London again. And this planetary picture is at 24-26 degrees. And I enumerated the engines because there are a number of ones, but you can actually see that the cardinal fire engine and the cardinal earth engine will be linked into a tense trapeze, where you have a trine as the base, Lilith and Aries, revolt against injustice in drastically altered outward circumstances. You have two squares at the sides, so it's quite difficult to get to the top. And the top is the Pluto Hygeia sextile, put together, try to create a sacred space through transformation. That's what it teaches us. And the insides of these trapeze are two quincunxes. And actually, there's not one, but two finger of fate. One is the Aries Venus Mercury Hygeia. It's a bit wide to my taste, but the Venus Hygeia is still closing, so actually it's there. And the other one is almost a boomerang. It's not quite, because the Vesta Pluto semi-sextile is not closing, but the Vesta Lilith opposition is quite tight. And so this is an almost boomerang, finger of fate, with Pluto, Neptune, and Lilith at the apex. And of course, opposite Vesta, which is the focusing principle. So that's quite a nice little configuration, complex configuration. With the important figures. Now, here are the transcendental objects. Again, this is the Libra new moon, which actually emphasizes the autumnal equinox, that it's really so quickly, almost immediately after the autumnal equinox, we have a new moon. And this is a heavy new moon. Although Libra new moons are always nice and fluffy, and yes, whatever. I used to hold black moon meditations 10 years ago, 15 years ago at Clearbrook College, and it was right one day before the new moons, and it's usually the Libra, black moon, balsamic moons that were somehow gathering a large crowd of people, because that is for starting a new relationship, and there were like tons of people, zillions of people wanting to start a new relationship, of course. And this is not it. This particular new moon is not about starting new relationships, unfortunately. It's kind of reaping what we sow with the Saturn-Uranus square in this Taurus kite configuration. But here, this is different a little bit. Here you have the tense trapeze and of course so it also has a karmic energy pattern, and with the two fingers of fate, it's quite heavy. Now this is what we have here. There's the on Mercury you have Alkaid, which is Eta Ursa Major. The big bear, the celestial big bear, is linked to the goddess energy, but if you take out the Big Dipper, and this is again something that you only understand in Hungarian, because we call the Big Dipper Gönce Szekér. Szekér means, of course, a chariot or a cart. And Gönce was not a shaman, a táltos. This is a little bit different from a shaman, but roughly the same. And according to the myth, his mast broke and he couldn't repair it, and so he just threw the chariot up in the sky, and from then on he's there. And the whole constellation of Big Dipper in karmic astrology is linked to knowledge, hidden knowledge, well-known knowledge but hidden, transformed knowledge, and so something can be with Mercury, which is understanding, and retrograde Mercury is looking inside. Something can be at your disposal if you actually meditate on it. On Pluto, you have Astarte, Aran, Amicus, and Cerebellum. These are all well known. I think the same were on the ingress chart 2 days ago, so I'm not going to enumerate, but Cerebellum maybe is important because it's Omega Sagittarius, so it's the last named or noted, not named, but also named and noted star in the constellation Sagittarius. And it's not a very bright side, it's 4.8. Stars are visible until the sixth magnitude, so it's not very bright, but actually it's the Omega, so the last one. After that, you only get not alphabet not names of the Greek alphabet, but simply numbers. And it's also named. And a pistol or some sort of weapon is named after it. So it's quite revealing that something is ending here. And also on Neptune, you have Nemesis and Markov. Markov is, of course, Alpha Pegasus. Nemesis is the goddess of retribution. And on Vesta, you have Sada, Sudan, Deneb, Algati. I enumerated these in the last video, so I'm not mentioning it. But on Hygeia, you have Seto and Deukalion. And these are two centaurs, actually TNOs, but in comic astrology, we call all Neptunian centaurs just for short. And Seto is toxic, denotes toxic emotions, and Deukalion means the survival under horrible circumstances, to be the chosen one. And these are on Hygeia, the asteroid of sacred spaces, cleanliness, health, and to create a safe environment. So that's what we need to do. And on Lilith, you have two strong and important women goddesses. Dione is not a goddess. She was the first wife of Zeus, and she denotes young love, young and fresh love, let's put it this way. And also in Ishtar, of course, is Venus in Mesopotamia, and Isis is the goddess of, she's an Egyptian goddess. She is Osiris's wife, and she is the mother of Horus, and she is able to put together his torn up husbands that got torn up by Seth, and she puts Osiris together and creates the baby with him. So it's the ability to recreate whatever has been torn to pieces and conjure it into a workable potential. That's what Isis denotes in comic astrology. This is a difficult new moon. It heralds something that can be escalated into something really nasty. And I really hope that you will be able to do something about it and be wise, concentrate on your own position, try to strengthen your own positions, try to really consider that we are entering the dark phase of the year, and it's going to be colder and darker up till Christmas. And even after that, it's going to be cold and dark. And everything will be enlarged as well, because the powers that be really don't want us to live a nice and comfortable life, which we could if they weren't who they are. Thank you for listening, and happy new moon. Bye.